For making a day today with me on the marketplace. Let's start with some developments on the petroleum sector. The Executive Vice President and Managing Director of Tullow Oil, Kwekwa Wetwe, says he is not worried about being affected by a planned managerial restructuring in the coming months. Tullow recently asked his Group Chief Executive and Director of Oil Exploration to step aside due to challenging performance of his operations in Ghana. But speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Wetwe says he is focused on turning around the fortunes of Ghana's operations.
Those forecast projections on the back of a very successful drilling program a year ago as we continue to increase production. And the natural instinct of most organizations is that as we increase, we can do more. As we increase, we can do more. I think what this year has forced the company to do is basically to stop, take a deep breath and reassess. And that assumption of just continued upward progress may not have been the right one. And actually, we needed to take better account of the risks that we actually had producing oil and factor them in better than we did. So we've really spent the last few months doing that exercise where we say now, are we taking proper account of those risks? Are we factoring them in properly? Rather than just saying everything will just continue to improve. So I would say that it's not just a tweak. There are substantial reductions in our production guidance. There are several thousand barrels a day less. But equally, it's not as if all of a sudden the production will go from 100 to 0 in the next 5 years. What we've seen is that we can maintain production on a stable basis for the long term.
So, last but one question. Do you think that the problems with looking at what has happened with the oil area and the desperate measures that you have to take to deal with it, do you think that for once and for all, this flaring issue and gas issue has to be dealt with going forward, and therefore if you have to put pressure on government or even if you do your own vessel to take this gas, it has to be done now?
I think you are definitely onto something when you say the gas reinjection, we have to deal with it because we have been reinjecting from the beginning for a number of years. And really, I think our message to government is we've got to find a complete solution where we stop reinjecting. As I said, we're not flaring at this time, but we are reinjecting. So definitely agree we need to find a solution for that. And I'm definitely hopeful that we'll find it.
So the final question. I mean, I was surprised, just like what I asked you with the Mangos, McDane. These are individuals who helped Tullow in the troubled times. Looking at what has happened and even looking forward to the planned review of your operations, do you look at your back and so that my position safe?
When a board decides to, when the CEO resigns, I mean, nobody's job is safe, quote unquote. I think all we need to do is do our jobs the best we can. No individual, no organization is perfect. I think very much the exercise is looking forward. How do we look forward and make sure that let's say the mistakes of the past are not made? We can't spend our time looking backwards. So I think Paul McDade and Angus McCoss are very highly regarded, very capable individuals. They made their decisions because they felt perhaps they needed to move on. But really, I'm fairly confident that we can look forward with the resources.
Let's still stay upstream because oil firm Springfield is denying reports it is cooking up numbers of its oil deposits to boost the company's value. There have been some claims Springfield is falsifying figures with regards to the volumes of crude discovered last year. These volumes have, however, been doubted by some industry players who are describing the figures as concocted. But CEO of the company, Kevin Ochre, says this is not accurate.
However, we hit 2 discoveries. These works, are being done by blue chip companies such as Baker Hughes, GE, Halliburton, Schlumberger, and the likes. So there's not something that we Springfield are sitting in our office and we're just coming up with numbers. That's not how it works. There are companies that do the work, and there are gauges, there are laws, there are stuff which tells you. So you cannot make up these numbers. You can't just sit in your house and make up these numbers. The technical team work with these reputable companies. You have to understand that integrity is everything in our line of business. So you just don't sit up and just come up with these numbers. I think what you need to understand is that there were some existing discoveries on our block when we were awarded, and what we've done has basically increased our proven volumes or our discoveries to a little over 1.5 billion, and we have added additional gas of 7 BCF. So what the tools that are being used by these big multinationals, the same companies that work for Exxon, same companies do the work for Chevron, Tullow, and everyone else. So the same way that is being measured for those companies is the same way that is being measured for us. So you don't necessarily need to drill 100 wells to prove. I mean, when you drill, it is what it is. It tells you what is there. It tells you the reservoir. It tells you out of the reservoir how much of that is oil bearing, and out of that, which is the net pay. So it's a whole process, a whole very proven and tested process, and that's how they come up with the numbers. So Springfield and GMPC don't sit in our room and just come up with the numbers. What I can tell you is that Springfield works with integrity. We work with blue chip companies. We gain nothing. We are not a listed company. We don't need to say anything. Just that our petroleum agreement says that we need to let everyone knows what we have. But what people maybe what you need to understand is that there's a saying in our culture whereby the truth will always come out, whatever it is, and we have nothing. There's nothing special about our volumes. I mean, yes, we've done very well, but like I said, collectively, if you put all what we have together, is when you get over 1.5 billion. So there's Udum, there's Banda, there's what we just drilled, Afina, and there's Beach. So it's not something that's not been done before. It's just that having been done before by an African in deep water. That's all it is.
Well, let's get downstream now. The Institute of Energy Security, IES, says it foresees prices of fuel on the local market potentially increasing marginally, despite the cedi recording some marginal gains against the US dollar over the period leading to the first pricing window of January. However, the IES says the increases could be averted or its impact minimized if the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, applies the price stabilization and recovery levy. Let's get on the phone lines now and speak with the Executive Director of IES, Parkwesi Anamwa Sechi, for some more clarity on this development. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the market, please.
Good afternoon to you, Emmanuel, and good afternoon to your viewers.
All right, now, so what's your basis for this projection?
Well, like we put us in our statement, under the deregulated fuel market now, it is the market force that dictates what price should be, although levies and other taxes from government could also change the direction of the fuel price. And so we look at these variables and basically, we look at the world oil market prices that will influence the local market. We also look at the exchange rate and between the cedi and the dollar. And so over the last 2 weeks, what we realized is that the crude oil Brent has shot up by about 5%. Same with petrol and diesel on the world market. According to Platts analysis, gasoline has gone up by about 5.5%, whereas diesel has gone up by close to 4.95%. And so all this fuel into our own fuel price, local fuel price. The good news is that the cedi appreciated against the US dollar marginally though, but however, it won't have much effect positively on fuel price. But the international price that has shot up are the ones that are going to influence the price of fuel. And by our own computation, we'll find between 1.5 and 1.6% increment.
Now, let's look at the reason for this increase in crude oil prices, on the world market. I know that OPEC is trying to cut or is still cutting down on supplies. Is this also affecting the situation currently?
Sure. The decision by OPEC has influenced the price of crude on the world market. If they decide to cut down on production, it literally affects the supply of fuel on the market. And as market forces, economics dictate, where the supply is in short, of course, it will affect prices to go up in that tandem. And so it's a decision by OPEC that's moving. However, the U.S. also released some amount of fuel from its strategic stock, the crude, onto the market, which has dampened the price or the rise over the last 4 days. And so it is still staying between the $60 mark when it comes to the BTI, the West Texas Intermediate one, but the Brent is still around 55. We hope it will not go up because other productions are going on. And if you look at the character of these OPEC members, at the point they are not so disciplined. They'll begin to produce even beyond what they have agreed in principle to do. And so this is what happened for the last 2 weeks.
Now, if the cedi persistently, gains against the dollar, is this margin going to be offset by the cedi's gains?
It won't do much change. The cedi's performance has been weak against the US dollar. I don't know whether the year of return influenced it in one way or the other, that we had more dollars coming into the system. Now that the year of return is over, we don't foresee the cedi appreciating so much or doing better against the dollar until government puts in the right mechanism to postpone all this. But it's just negligible. 1.5% of appreciation will not do much.
So what prices are we looking at the pumps here in Ghana?
Currently, we buy a gallon of fuel for about 25 cedis. When these increments come, we are likely to buy 20 cedis at the pump. That's for petrol and diesel, because today the average price you get is about 25 cedis.
Now, in a release, you also mentioned the fact that if NPA should activate the petroleum stabilization levy, it could cushion the impact a bit. To what extent would this happen?
Yes, the oil marketing companies pay this levy to NPA anytime you buy a liter of fuel. Now, this stabilization levy is supposed to cushion us at the point when NPA finds that the impact will be so great on consumers. What they do is they let the OMC hold that cash. They don't pay to NPA. So in another way, they compensate them and say, don't increase your price. We know that it's just price increase. But now, keep what you're supposed to pay us to cushion. So there's that exchange between the MPA and the oil marketing company. We hope that this time around, they will let them keep the prices at the levy. Then, of course, there won't be any rise in fuel price.
What will be your prediction for the first quarter of this year?
Well, for the first quarter of next year, what normally happens is we observe what the refineries are doing. Now that they are going to summer, or will be leaving the winter just after March thereabouts, they will shut down for maintenance. When there is shut down for maintenance, then it means that supply of refined products will be squeezed. Then prices will go up. However, prices will stay the same, around the same margin on the Platts benchmark, as well as the Brent crude benchmark. It will just stay within the $60 mark, the $60, $70 mark for crude oil, and same will stay for the finished product. But on the local market, you know that over the past few years, the steady depreciation that has done the bigger, damage to our fuel price. If government could manage it well, then of course, we expect the first quarter of next year, we don't need to buy fuel for more than 27 cedis per gallon.
All right.
However, if the cedi continues the same tandem, by close of March, we'll be heading towards 30 cedis mark for a gallon of fuel.
All right. Many thanks for your time. Parkwesi Anamwa Sechi is Executive Director of the Institute of Energy Security, IES. Away from that, Sales and Marketing Manager of Royal Causey Hills Hotel, Nicholas Sunsuma, has stated plans to have a safari at the hotel would not only increase the profit margins, but also open up the Jirapa municipality to potential investors. He said the safari, which is almost complete, would have several animal species which cannot be found anywhere in West African sub-region. Nicholas Susuma made the statement at Jirapa when the hotel was opened to the public ahead of its official opening. Rafiq Salam reports.
The Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, or better known as Jiruba Dubai, arguably has become the #1 destination for holiday revelers in the northern Gulf of the country. For the second year running, and New Year Day, it was full to the rafters. People from all walks of lives, including the young and old, thronged there to mark the event.
We are here with the family to say thank you to the Lord for keeping us throughout 2019 and also reconnect with friends. And in Upper West, this is about the best place you can come and reconnect. So it's been very nice, very splendid, and I invite everybody to find a space to come to Jirapa Dubai.
The place is cool. The place is cool, a nice place. I like the place.
It's one of a kind in the northern part of Ghana. Yeah, we've not seen this one here before.
Last year, this same time, I came with the kids to enjoy their New Year festivities. They enjoyed it, and they gave me pressure to bring them back, and I couldn't resist bringing them back.
Apart from coming around with their families to have fun, there's still another unique feature which made the revelers glued to their seats, punctuated with nodding of their heads and shaking of their feet. Music produced in the region are equal match with traditional dance.
That's something that we want to showcase to the world to know that, yes, Jirapa is really the heart of the region. It is the heart of the region. And our son and our brother, our father, has made us so proud that we can knock our chest anywhere we find ourselves and let society know that, yes, we are out, and Jirapa will always be out.
Now you see that when they were doing the cultural display, everybody paid so much attention to it. So it's been very good to blend the foreign and local things together.
Many of the revelers have made a pledge to be back anytime they have the time to spare. However, they wish that the safari should be finished quickest to satisfy their morbid curiosity. Sales and Marketing Officer of Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, Nicholas Sunsuma, was impressed with the attendance.
The safari, we are almost done. I can tell you as we speak, we have some few species of animals. And then the dump is ready. We have a beautiful summer